Did you know that AARP has determined that about 8 out of 10 caregivers for loved ones in their family are going to incur out-of-pocket expenses to help with that family member or to be able to provide caregiving services? So I have got 5 financial tips for caregivers today that will help you to hopefully reduce or maybe even eliminate some of those expenses. So stay with me. Hi, it's Robin with SeniorSafetyAdvice.com. Tune into our channel and make sure you subscribe because we put out helpful tips and tricks to help you and your loved ones age in place safely. So as I said in the opening, some financial things to think about if you are a caregiver. As I said, AARP has determined that 8 out of 10 of us who are caregivers or helping our aging loved ones are going to incur some type of out-of-pocket expense. For the average caregiver, it comes down to about $7,200 annually. That's a lot of money. It can range anywhere from about 21% to 100% of your annual income. Most often it hovers around 28%. This money goes for things like housing or rent for the loved one, helping them make home modifications so that they can stay in their homes longer, or making modifications to your home if you've taken that senior loved one into your own place. Other expenses, but they're indirect, are more like you had to reduce hours at work so you didn't get paid as much. Some people, I have a coworker who just had to quit her job entirely because she's had to move her elderly father into her home and he needs care around the clock, so she's lost out on that income. In addition to these expenses, the AARP has determined that about 63% of caregivers are having to sell some asset, one or more things, in order to get income to help provide for the senior loved one. So obviously, financial tips are going to come in handy for you. So the biggest financial tip, it's my whole overall video. It's what it relates to, but the biggest financial thing is plan ahead. The problem is you never know if you're going to have to take care of a senior loved one, or if you are the senior, you have no idea what's in your future if maybe your adult child is going to have to take care of you. So it's smart, if you can do it at all, to start planning ahead. Medicare does not pay anything at all towards being a caregiver, towards assisted living, towards long-term care in a nursing home. So you need to be sure that you are providing these things, if you can, looking into them ahead of time. So by that, what I mean is, if it's at all possible, think about creating either an investment account, a savings account, something like that you can start putting money into monthly. Let's face it, anything that you set aside is going to be money that you don't have to necessarily take out of your own pocket in an emergency. Another thing that you can look into now rather than later is long-term care insurance. The older the person who is going to have that insurance gets, the more expensive that policy becomes. So if it's something that you as the senior could buy when you were in your 50s, before you really were technically a senior, obviously it's going to be a lot cheaper than if you're suddenly 85 years old looking for long-term care insurance. Something else to think of and start looking into are things that would provide you or your senior loved one with an additional income. And by that I mean, if your senior loved one is a vet, make sure you start looking into veterans benefits, aid and attendance from the VA, things like that. They may not really be getting those things yet. They may not realize that they qualify for them. So it makes sense to start looking into it now. Same thing with Medicaid. Medicaid is a state-based thing. It's an income-based, as all of these programs are. But if you don't have any idea whether your loved one might fall under the Medicaid benefits in your state or their state, now is a good time to start looking. Something else you could even look into are whether or not the parent has any benefits that might be coming to them from their prior job, company benefits, private company benefits, or even union benefits. For example, my father was a member of the Teamsters Union. He had a life insurance policy that was a benefit for him. I realize that that's not something that can be used until after somebody passes away, but it's an example of a benefit that maybe you would be able to get and then use for reimbursement down the road. The point about all of this is you need to be looking into things now, because most of these programs that I've mentioned take up to 2 years to be able to apply, become qualified. They have to do research. A lot of them are income based, so then there's turning in income tax returns and things like that. It's a long process. It's not something you can apply for and get within a month or two, so you need to be looking into those benefits. While you're doing all of this, one thing I'd strongly recommend is drawing up a caregiver contract. You can do a search online for a personal care agreement. That's basically what I'm talking about. It is something that's going to be a contract between your senior parent and yourself if you are the caregiver. If you are the senior, it would be a contract obviously between you and your adult child who would be your caregiver. The point is that you want to draw this up, because what it's going to do, person who is a caregiver, they're earning money for this if you're going to pay them. And so, it's going to maybe be subject to income taxes. You might also think about things like if you're paying this caregiver to replace their salary, as I mentioned at the beginning that I have a coworker who just left our dental office because she needed to move her father into her home. And so he needed round-the-clock care, so she had to quit her job. So in that case, he is going to actually pay her to take care of him, but she has siblings. So if down the road, suddenly a sibling says, well, now, wait a minute, why was Dad giving you, I don't know, $5,000 a month to take care of him? That's not worth it, and you've taken some of my money. If you have this agreement drawn up by an attorney, then there's not really much that they can say about it. Now, side note, you can actually do these agreements just as an informal thing where you kind of write stuff down between you. It's probably going to be a little harder legally to stand up if there's an issue in a court of law, but it's something to think about. Regardless, you should have something like this because it makes you official. So along with that, you also want to make sure that if you are going to do anything like paying your loved one's bills out of their accounts or out of your accounts, whatever, but particularly if you're using their money to pay bills or to modify something in your home because you're moving that person in, whatever reason, if you're spending their money, you become a fiduciary. In some states, many states, have laws in place, so you want to make sure you cover all of your bases in case there was ever a problem. So keep detailed records that, you paid this bill for Dad on this date in this amount of money for this reason, or you took $500 out of Dad's account in order to put a ramp in your home so that he could come into the home. Whatever it is, make sure it's a detailed record that you keep. So the last thing that I would tell you is make sure too that you have family meetings and that you have these family meetings frequently. Doesn't mean you have to be all in person. You can do, if everybody's spread across the country, do a Zoom meeting, do a phone call with everybody, a conference call, something. But you need to make sure that you are keeping your siblings informed of what you are doing, why you're doing it, how much money you're spending, etc. Trust me when I tell you, it makes life a whole lot easier. There's less resentment if they know what's going on. Make sure that you have family meetings so everybody stays informed. So I hope these tips have helped you. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have something that you can think of that I didn't cover in this video that would be also a financial tip for a caregiver, please make sure to drop it in the comments below. And again, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, make sure you hit the subscription button. I think it's in this corner, and also hit the notification bell when it comes up so you're notified every time we release a video. So again, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate all of you, and until the next video, take care. Bye.